What's going on, guys? Nick Wood here. Hey, I get this question a lot. People say, hey, when you're doing your due diligence, when you are looking at what niche to go into, what tools do you use? People love tools. It's crazy. People love tools. They love geeking out on a tool. And this is the answer I'm going to tell you. And this is straight. Okay. It doesn't matter. Okay. And for me, I don't really use tools. I do have a few, but it doesn't matter what you use. It matters that you are consistent. Let me explain. Okay. So one of the tools and one of the things I look at when I'm deciding on going into a niche is I want to know how much demand is in that specific city, okay, for that service. And so you could use so many different tools. There's SEMrush, there's Ahrefs, there's Mangools, there's Google Keyword Planner. They're all different costs. Some are free. Which one's good? It doesn't matter. Okay, let me tell you why. They're all wrong. Okay, none of them are accurate. And the reason why is because when you're talking about local, it's impossible to grab that data and be accurate. Okay. And so here's what I recommend. And this is what I do. Okay. Is pick a tool. Okay. And you may have to try a couple different ones out to see which one you like. Pick a tool and do the following and then stick with that tool. Okay. So here's what I do is I pick the tool. And so like in the beginning, I used to use SEMrush and I have since changed. And now I have started using Ahrefs. Okay. But I also know a lot of people that like Google Keyword Planner, which is free. And what you do is you get your tool and you go and you find a property, AKA a website. I'm speaking in real estate terms. You use a website that you are ranking number one in most of the main keywords. Okay. You got to be ranking well. Can't just be one keyword. You're on page one, but ranking really well. And you have been for a period of time. And if you don't have one of those, find somebody that does. Okay. If you are in my free Facebook group, I share one of my sites. I share multiple sites that are ranking at the top of Google that you could use this same exact thing on. Okay. But just use any site that's ranking really well for the main keywords. Okay. So let's say you're in concrete. Okay. You're in concrete in Fort Worth. Okay. Which would be terrible because it's going to be super competitive. I can tell you that without even looking. But let's say you want to make sure you're ranking number one for concrete contractors, one of the most highly searched terms. Concrete sidewalks, concrete driveways, concrete, what else is there? Concrete, I think concrete itself is a pretty good term. Anyway, you want to get the main terms that people search, okay? And you want to make sure you're ranking for those. And you also want to make sure that specific website is one that you have the GMB for. You already have an address and you're ranking. So you want to pick like your breadwinner. You want to take your good site or somebody's site. And I have multiple of these that I let people use in my free group. Okay. You take that site and you look at the data and you say, okay, in Fort Worth Concrete, every single month for the last 12 months, we've been averaging 100 leads. Okay. We've been averaging 100 leads on average. Sometimes it's 80 in the winter. Sometimes it's 120. We've been averaging 100. Okay. Over the last year. And so it's safe to assume, since I'm number one, and again, this is assumptions. It's just to give you an idea, but it's safe to assume that as I'm number one in both the maps and in the organic, that's a pretty good indication of the kind of volume, because number one gets most of the search volume, as we know, especially if you're in the maps. Okay. If you're in the maps and the organic, sorry. So then what I do is I'm going to go into my tool, say it's Google Keyword Planner, and I'm going to type in those terms. I'm going to type in Fort Worth concrete contractors, concrete contractors, Fort Worth. You're going to type in all these different variations, and you're going to start looking at like, what is the range of search volume that it's telling you there is, and demand, right? And when I say demand, I mean search volume. And let's just take, for example, let's say that Google Keyword Planner says that there are 50. No, let's say that it says that there are, let's say that it says there are 50 searches in Fort Worth for concrete for most of the terms. Okay. Just somewhere in there. Some of them say 30, some of them say 70. Let's just say around 50. Okay. Well, we can just go ahead and use our brains, these amazing little tools that we have, and we can go ahead and think, okay, well, if the tool says 50, but I have a site that's ranked number one, and I've been getting 100 calls per month. I know that there's way more than 50. Okay. Even though it says there's only 50 people searching per month, I know that's inaccurate. No surprise. And so then what I do is I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and make this assumption that if the tool says 50, it's not actually 50. it's actually double whatever the tool says. Okay, so now if I want to go look and see how many searches there are in Arlington specifically, which is a suburb of Fort Worth and the Dallas area, I can go start typing in concrete Arlington, concrete walkway or sidewalk or driveway, all the main terms again, but I'm going to put in Arlington. And now the same tool, right, of Google Keyword Planner, it says there's only 10. Okay. But here's what's cool now is now I know that we can assume that since the other one said there was 50 and there's actually at least 100, for Arlington, it says there's 10, but we can assume there's going to be at least 20. Right? Or if it's 15, we can assume there's going to be at least 30. And so now you kind of just have these baselines and you have an idea of, okay, well, when the tool says this, it's actually double. When the tool says this, it's actually triple. When the tool says this, it's actually this. Okay. And now you can start making comparisons. All you have to do is you got to find out that one site, that one really good site that's already ranking. And you got to have some data, how many leads it's getting over the course of the year. It's got to be ranking maps and organic. And then you're going to compare that against what the actual tool says. And again, it doesn't matter if it's Mangools, it doesn't matter if it's SEMrush, doesn't matter if it's Keyword Planner, it doesn't matter if it's Ahrefs, does not matter. Okay. The most important thing is that you find out and you find your North Star. You find out, okay, what is that ratio? And then you stay consistent. So every time you're looking at any site or any area, any city, and any niche, you're using the exact same tool so you can make the exact same assumptions across the board. That is how I use tools, because I know they're not accurate, because I'm talking about local. So I know they're not accurate, and I'm not going to make a decision based on what it says because I've never seen that match up. So if you want to know what tools I'm currently using right now, I have a subscription to one tool. It is Ahrefs, and I can't even remember the last time I logged into it. Okay, I don't spend a ton of time in tools. Now, I do like to know, I look at backlinks as part of my search process, my due diligence, and so that's handy. I use a lot of free stuff, but as far as paid tools, that is the only one that I'm currently using, and I might change.